The stopwatch started when you stepped out. 90 seconds, one piece of graphite over that edge, into the ruin of Reactor 4. The men before you managed, the robots didn't. Your boots drag under lead. The dosimeter is counting faster than your heart. 20 seconds gone, and you have not reached the thing you came for. Stop. To survive this, you need to know how you got here. Autumn 1986. Chernobyl, Soviet Ukraine, roughly 5 months after Reactor 4 exploded and threw pieces of its own burning core onto the rooftops around it. The roof of Unit 3 is littered with blocks of graphite from inside the reactor. Every block is an open radiation source. Until they go back into the hole they came from, this place cannot be sealed. The plan was a machines. Around 60 were tried. The radiation killed the machines first. On the worst sections, it scrambles the machine circuits, flipping the switches inside its chips until it drives blind. A West German robot broke down on the roof at the start of September. The photographer, Igor Kostin, remembered watching another machine drive straight over the edge and into the ruin. So, on the 19th of September, they sent men. Someone, nobody remembers who, called them bio-robots. The name stuck because it was precise. After the machines failed, men were cheaper, and men could take more radiation than a circuit board. The sectors of that roof carry women's names. Katya and Masha. General Tarakanov, who commands this operation, named it for his sister, by his own telling. Masha is the highest sector, hard against the open breach of Reactor 4, and the dose rates climb from tens of Roentgen an hour on the outer roofs to thousands beside the gap. So the time limit scales with the dose, 1 to 2 minutes per man. On the worst roof, 90 seconds. You have drawn Masha. And notice how quiet this screen is tonight. No hearts, no percentages. This story doesn't play games. The men in it are real, and some of them are alive today. Up there, only 2 numbers ever mattered, a stopwatch and a dosimeter. So those are the only numbers you get. At the foot of the access stair, they dress you. A rubber apron lined with lead. Loose lead plates tied over whatever the apron leaves open. Chest, back, groin. The plates were cut from sheets torn off the walls of government offices in the town of Chernobyl. On the general's orders. Thin lead in a cap. Thin lead in your boots. Reportedly 25 to 30 kilograms in all. It will be worn exactly once. When you come down, all of it goes on the scrap pile, too contaminated to touch again. The kit is never complete. You may add 1 piece. Choose slowly, then hear what the armour is actually worth, because it is not what you think. When these suits were tested, the lead cut the dose by roughly 1/3. 1/3 is real, but the gamma field on Masha is strong enough that the 2/3 still coming through will reach your limit in minutes. And every kilogram slows your feet, and this roof charges by the second. The spine plate buys that 1/3 where it matters most and costs you the most speed. The cap covers your skull and neck for less weight and leaves the rest to the apron alone. The gloves carry no lead at all, but the shovel sits firm in doubled hands, and a firm grip is a faster throw. There is no wrong item on this card. There is only the true rule of the roof, and it runs against every instinct you have. The lead helps, but speed remained the best defense. Your dose is not decided by what you wear. It is decided by how many seconds you stand there. You climb through Unit 3 behind your escort. The plan of the roof is drawn by hand, and 1 block of graphite on it is marked for you, yours, assigned before you ever saw these stairs. The order is 1 sentence. Run to it, get the shovel under it, put it over the edge, into the breach, the open wound where the reactor hall used to be. What goes back into that hole will be buried under the sarcophagus. Today, the hole is open. Before the first soldier ever went out, a military doctor ran one of these roofs himself, 5 shovelfuls over the edge in 1 minute and 13 seconds. They gave him the Order of the Red Star. Now it is a procession. For roughly 12 days, 8 in the morning to 8 at night, this stairwell is never empty. On the heaviest single day, 376 men. At the roof door stands an officer with a stopwatch. This is how the general himself described it, and how the 1986 footage shows it. The officer starts the watch the moment you step out. When your time is spent, an electric siren sounds across the roof. Below, in the command post, General Tarakanov commands from the screens of a CCTV rig. Nobody stays up here. They repeat one rule to you twice, so you know they mean it. When the siren sounds, you drop everything. Everything. The shovel, the piece, whatever is unfinished, everything. Your dosimeter reads 0, and it will be read again the moment you come down. Every run, every man, entered in a ledger, added up. Your ceiling for this entire war is around 20 rem. A nuclear plant worker today is allowed a fraction of that across a full year, and this roof hands that year's worth out in tens of seconds. The door opens. Now you know the only rule that matters up here, every second you stand still, is printed on your bag. Go. The roof is not a floor. It is torn tar and scattered debris, and you cross it at a run under all that lead. There, the piece from the map, dull black, half buried, lying where it fell in April. Shovel under, it fights you. It is heavier than the briefing said, or your arms are already less than they were. Lift. 3 steps. Over the edge, gone, into the breach. You do not look down into it. Nobody told you to look. A second piece, smaller, loose. 1 scoop and it follows. And there, 1 more block split in 2. 2 throws worth, maybe 15 seconds past the siren. Stay past the siren, and the extra seconds are printed on your badge, counted against your ceiling. Leave it, that is the order, and the next man starts with your unfinished work. Both are choices real men had to make. The siren. You drop everything. You run. Down the stairwell, into waiting hands. They strip the suit off you where you stand. Apron, plates, cap, all of it onto the pile. It was only ever going to be worn once. A dosimetrist reads your badge and enters the number in a ledger against your name. Someone puts a glass of hot tea in your hands. Then the part nobody warned you about. A certificate, printed in advance, waiting for your signature. Official thanks from a state that knew exactly what it had just asked of you. The certificate is documented fact. The money beside it is remembered differently. The dosimetric scout Starodumov puts the bonus at 800 rubles. The photographer Kostin remembered 100. Then you go home. By the dosimetrist's count, 3,828 men did what you just did, on Masha alone. The rule was 1 run per man. Some chose to go again. By the general's account, 1 sergeant went up twice, 1 soldier 3 times. Their extra seconds went into the same ledger. One of the men who worked those rooftops, by his own account, was Sergei Belyakov, 30 years old, a doctor of chemistry from Dnipro, called up from the reserves. 6 trips onto the roof of Unit 3, by his own count across 42 days. He is alive today. Asked 40 years on what it cost his body, he answered in 7 words. I mean, white blood cells were miserable. Igor Kostin climbed up with the crews to photograph them. I went up there 5 times. I've got 5 certificates. He lived to 78 and died in 2015 in a car accident. Because here is what the legend gets wrong and the record gets right. Most of the men on that roof walked back down and went home. The price, where it came slowly. More leukemia and more cataracts among those who carried the highest doses, and a weight on the mind that followed some men for decades. How large the final bill was is still argued over. It will not be settled here with a number. There is no confetti on this one. The screen already told you everything it honestly knows. 90 seconds and a number on a badge. Kostin spent the rest of his life showing people his photographs from that roof. When he talked about the men in them, he did not talk about himself. These ordinary soldiers did the dirty work. They're my heroes. Next week, another century, another ocean. A whale has just sunk your ship.